Hey, welcome to Fables at the Tables. This is the behind the scenes podcast for Table Fables. I'm Michael. I'm the dungeon master for this mini campaign. We've got Zach, we've got Colin, we've got Terry, we've got Austin, and we have Chris. Chris, you guys have not seen yet. He is helping me almost as like a secondary DM. He's going to be up in the chat. He's going to be helping me with rules because I want this to be fluid, and there's going to be times I'm just going to pitch stuff to him, like when Josh kept asking, like, or we got hung up on like, how, do I really turn into a stone? Am I round? Like a river rock or whatever? Like,
or am I a garden gnome?
Yeah, exactly. So it's super helpful to have a Chris in your life. Yeah. So I thought that overall was a success, other than, having some issues with
Act 2 is
it's
much
only
better.
a failure if we didn't learn.
It's true.
That's a good word.
I learned that Josh turns into a stone gnome.
I'm a rock.
Stone. No.
A rock. I turned into a rock.
Yeah, so he said that, and
It's
I'm
like we barely even know him.
that's pretty good. I was so confused because I was like trying to like scroll through the races to like figure out what he was talking about, and I just had to have him send me his character sheet. It's basically like, you're really good at hiding with rocks. Like,
he doesn't turn into a rock.
He doesn't do that. No, he's not.
All of them or nothing.
No, I think we still think like, wow, he looks like a rock. Like, let him believe it in game.
The rest of us
We'll
don't
all
know.
know that
Especially because he's not
rock.
here.
If he doesn't go listen to his own podcast,
Right.
he's part
He'll
of
never
it.
know
That's on
this.
him.
He'll still think it.
I need you guys to get him to hide, and I'm going to have an NPC walk by and be like, what's this guy doing?
Or I'm going to encourage
But he still
him.
blends in really well.
Right.
I'm going to encourage him. You need to have Austin throw you at some point. So the first time he's like, Atla, throw me. You need to pick him up and chunk him
Toss me.
in body form.
What?
Yep.
You heard me. Don't make me ask again.
What's great?
don't tell
What's
me
great
off.
though is it says like he's really good at hiding amongst rocks.
Yeah.
But in his mind, he's just like, look, I'm a rock. Like he's not gonna.
Right.
Catching tracks.
He's just. It's just
Yeah.
a gnome standing still.
I want to. I'd be like, hey, real quick, be a rock. I'm gonna roll you down this hill.
Yeah, that.
And then I'm
That's
gonna have to like give
genius.
him like improvised damage or something depending on
Can
what
that
happens.
be a mini game? Bowling.
It can be if you create it in game.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah. So other than, of course, like we figured
forgetting that's
out
my energy
that
drink.
our video backgrounds, they were MP4s, and as soon as we converted them to WebM, which is like the standard, immediately the computer started working.
Thing that we should have known.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I had done it with all the other ones, just not those three.
so that was the
three
that was specifically the backgrounds that was
Yep.
causing some of those issues. There were still some other internet things, but I think that we figured those kinks out and should not happen here in the future.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
But a
Fingers
lot
crossed.
of that, the performance issues were from three
Videos,
files.
just 3 MP4s.
That
They were,
is
and they were only 1080.
crazy.
That's what I don't get. Like,
Are they huge files? Is it like
no, they were like 4 megabytes.
We don't
they
have
were
enough cores.
what your 12 core isn't enough?
12 cores.
Should have got the 24.
Get the
get the
epic
Threadripper.
128. Just go up.
Yeah.
Come on, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like we had a lot of views throughout, and I know that's not
So
totally
big
a
thank you
metric
to those that tuned in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I know that's not the only important metric, but like it just felt good to finally do the thing because like this all started. I did a one-shot game, and it was super fun. And afterwards, I was talking with Austin and Colin and another guy, and I was just like, what if we did something like more interactive? Like, what if we did something like not that really hasn't been done in the D&D world on Twitch? And then the next day, I get a call. It was like the next day, right?
It was
Literally.
pretty quickly after.
Or 2 days later. Hey, you know that thing that you were like, let's do in like next year? What if we did that in 2 weeks? And that kicked it off. And here we are now.
I've
So
been feeling that pressure all week because you guys sounded so confident. Like, we're going to do this thing. And then when you show up with all of this equipment and we got like half of it set up and it's like, no, we're going to do this on Thursday. I'm like, there's at least 3 days worth of setup left.
yeah.
But hey, here we are. We crushed it.
Yeah.
As far as we did a session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a session.
I mean,
Yes.
a
happened.
huge shout out to you, Michael.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
you are like
Thank you.
the like brainchild of
Come
this
on.
entire thing. So,
Thanks.
The heart
well
and the
done.
core.
Session 1. check it off. It's
Yeah.
It's
So
done.
And when you said metrics, you're talking about metrics. I think what's cool is like this is step one to creating some really cool community for people. And I think, this is a group of people hanging out, having fun. And then we've got people that kind of just looking for something that hung out with us. Maybe right now it's a lot of people we may know, but I remember when, when this pandemic first hit and I'm like working from home and I'm literally set up over here to the side here where the computer is. And I'm an extrovert. And it was killing me that like I'm having to work in this dungeon of a garage that we're in right now every day. But I found streams just like this and I could have it on a side monitor. So I still felt like I was with people. And it's really cool to think that we're doing this right now and we're going to get to engage with a lot of different people. And it was cool actually being in the chat the whole time and just talk. I'm sure it'll evolve in talking trash because of the way I'm wired, but right now it's just talking to people. So.
And that I think that's an important thing to note. Like, I wanted to do something different, but I also want this to be like a community. Like, I don't want this to have just been like, oh, Michael had an idea, or like, that was birthed from that D&D game. Like, because just all through middle school, all through high school, like, I constantly found myself in a place of like not having like a solid community. I wish I would have found D&D sooner. Like, I didn't start playing D&D until like 3 or 4 years ago. So like not even that long, considering like the scope of it and how long it's been around and everything. But I want people to feel that. Like, I want to be able to like create this community group where people can just jump right in, feel like, hey, I have a place that like I have people I can talk to that know who I am, and I feel valued.
Yeah, I love all that. I've made more friends playing D&D in the last 6 years than I have doing literally anything else. Yeah. And it's so, that's just the start. Because even yesterday, like, Trent told me, he was like, yeah, I used to think that D&D was just a game for nerds and I didn't want anything to do with it. Guess I'm a nerd, because now he's in one of my games. Yeah. And I also got Austin into it. So it's like, it's really cool just to have that as the basis of meeting people. And then you get to meet them through their characters so much more. Yeah. And like, I have 2 friends that we stream with on Tuesdays that I've never met in real life, but I trust them so much. It's just one of those cool things that you get from having this game. So if we can continue that with anyone else that's in the chat or any of this, that'd be incredible.
Also, big shout out to Trent.
Yes, Trent.
Our tech guy. Yeah. He ran the stream. He's currently mixing our podcast over here. You can't see him. He's just off frame.
Yeah, and if you were a part of the first part of it, you should have seen the sweat all over this guy. He looks dried out now. Someone wrung him out. But he felt all the weight of everything you guys were telling us, all the feedback in chat. He was over there.
There was at one point, he was just like
we're still over here
what,
talking and having a great time.
He is just in pain, it looks like.
I'm
physical pain.
Grateful you're here. And I think this is going to be great. And you are a part of this as much as we are. Come on. I hope you feel that because literally without you, we couldn't do this.
That's good.
I think that first half, he should probably roll like psychic damage on himself.
Oh, yeah. Definitely like 1d12 psychic damage.
Yeah, definitely. What? So did anything stand out to you guys?
Not having money definitely stood out. Can I put some money into my character?
You should have some starting gold.
I don't have anything.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
It's usually between like
15.
What,
I don't know where that
20
came
and
from.
30 or something. It's not much at all.
Yep.
Starting gold.
Just roll like 3d10
usually it's at least 5. I feel like.
I don't know.
I had
15.
I'm pretty near to D&D.
Might be my background. I'm a clan crafter, so I probably like made stuff and.
So you have money and you're
I
making
can't tell
us
you
walk?
There wasn't nearly enough. I wasn't going to spend all of it
like-
on a. And that didn't take us that long to get
I
there.
mean, 30 gold's
But-
like a month's living expenses.
There's more to my
like a lawyer,
backstory that I can't share as to
Maybe
why I probably
maybe
have
outside of Icewind Dale.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, fair.
Yep. There was a part that I thought you guys would ask more questions about something that happened,
Where?
where you turned to me and immediately was like, "You know what this is."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, cool!" And I immediately knew how to react and how to respond and move. And everyone was like, "Cool, great!" And like we just like completely avoided a thing that was probably going to kill us.
I think that as we go, when we are not feeling the weight of, it was our first time, we started a little bit late. Yeah. There's technical difficulties and we know we probably need to advance. I think we'll probably slow down and ask a little more. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that we kind of let happen. One of the things that I really loved was the fact that like I felt the weight of all of a sudden you guys were like, wait, what are you new? Chaotic? Good? Like what is happening right now? And it's just like a great reminder to me. I was getting totally carried away. I was like, there's a magical weapon already. Let's go. Let's stab something with it. And then I remember, wait, my character, yes, he does he's excitable. Yes, he does tend to jump off from the left side every now and then or go crazy or whatever. But he typically will rein it in and mimic what he sees around him. And everybody around me was saying, this is weird. And he should have recognized that sooner. So that's why I had to make the quick shift to kind of rein it back in.
Yeah.
So appreciate you guys helping me.
I was about it though. Like when you were like, I step on his throat. I was like, all right, here we go. This is how this is gonna go. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's
Makes
like
rules.
opening. I guess it was in the opening sequence, but that sequence
That was
of
so
us
rough.
finding the dead body, you're shoving your feet. What did you say?
He's
Like,
like
I have
doing
one foot
his
on his
chest
chest and
and
the
his
other one
neck.
In his throat.
crushing his neck
Yeah.
or something
I mean,
like that.
yeah, because the force of it would
Yeah,
have
you
pushed
have
down
to-
on his throat.
I mean, he's practically frozen into the ground. I don't think his body's.
crunching his
And I couldn't get a hold of him. I was like, get off it.
But here's the thing: I was thinking, like,
Get a
honestly, some of it is I'm a drow, and you
Yeah.
got to figure out how to justify that I'm not evil. Well, there's still some evil tendencies trying to rise
Sure.
up and
Yeah.
from inside of me.
Yeah.
I'm starting to. Have you guys seen Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls?
Yeah.
I'm starting to picture like I'm gonna have to tie you up and put you on my back, like that fight scene when he fights, and you see this big, huge. He's like, "Oh no, to fight this guy," and he like unstraps this crazy creature on his back. I like that's gonna be you. Like, I'm
Release
just-
the teddy.
How old are you?
I'm gonna
Did you
strap
guys?
you
Did you
down.
guys all just say yes? Have you
Yes.
actually seen Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls?
I have.
I definitely haven't.
Okay.
I was gonna say I haven't either.
I love that whenever even you're like, think Scandinavian, and everybody's like, oh, and I was like, I don't know, what does that mean to me? But you guys were all on.
I mean,
there,
I
so.
pictured
Cool.
like old, like just like Viking structures, like hay on
Say
the,
Viking.
on
I
the
get
roof.
that. Scandinavian.
That's
I'm
what
not,
the
I'm not-
Norwegian
use
and
the
Danish
comment.
is what actually came to mind. I have photos. Hold on, I'll find it eventually.
One of my struggles is like I'm playing a high intelligent character. However, I'm not high intelligent as a player.
This,
And
this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So like
That's
really
cool.
high,
It's tricky.
steep
Yeah.
roofs,
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I just
Viking,
totally
yes.
gave up on like the map thing for
Yeah.
this time too because I just didn't want to deal with that on top of like everything else that already wasn't working.
Same
So
thing. The actual IRL intelligence is low. My intelligence on this guy is actually pretty high, but his social relational
Very low
Wisdom.
charisma.
Yeah.
skills and my charisma is literally
Yeah.
-2 modifier.
Oh,
so
makes
like,
sense.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
But I actually really like I think in D&D and role playing games like having almost like a critically flawed skill is like good.
Oh yeah.
Because like we as people
Yeah.
and I know this is fantasy whatever but people have that.
Yeah, I played in a campaign one time, or maybe it was just a one shot. And the DM lets you point by into four skills, and then one had to be an 8 or a -1. So I thought, every character has a flaw or something that they're bad at.
Yeah.
I think that's something I need to work on as my character, because like I'm still figuring out like more of the backstory and everything, and
Yeah.
you know, like he was outcast from the Goliath tribe to the wild, similar to what the guy was sent out to do, but he survived, and so like that's one thing you guys don't know. You probably know that he was outcasted because there would be like he no longer actually wears
you
the
were a
clan
food
symbol.
sacrifice.
Wasn't a food sacrifice. Like
You were a
food
great
sacrifice.
haul.
part of the backstory was that he wasn't a food sacrifice.
Oh,
It was he thinks that it was because he was too smart for a Goliath tribe. They got rid of him.
That's cool.
There's
We'll
another
get
story too.
I mean, if it makes
Yeah.
you feel any better, I think Atla's my favorite character so far.
I'm just
I like him a lot.
like I'm
You're
trying to
so
figure out
smart,
like
you could literally, if we're doing the wrong thing, you can physically stop us, or you should be able to. So.
I like
I'm
her
not even
character a
that
lot.
strong though. Like I'm like the gnome's the strongest character we have.
But you're a Goliath, like
Yeah.
Well,
And more brooding. It's more like it's intimidating.
right? Like
Yeah.
you duck to get into doorways,
Yeah.
like that thing.
I think what's cool what you guys were saying. So I'm really pretty new to D&D, but I started out with a game called Shadowrun, and one of my favorite features of Shadowrun was that there was an edge and flaw system to it. So you would get so many. You'd have to balance it out. You'd get so many points to put into edges, which would be their personality traits that you would have to add in, like. Or not even just personality, but you could be ambidextrous, or you could add night vision or whatever. You could add some of those like cool things, or you could be like aptitude for a certain skill, all these different things. But then on the flip side, you had to add flaws, which could be paraplegic. Like that's the most extreme.
Yeah.
Or night blindness. Or there was one called Gremlins. You were bad with with electronics because it wasn't set in this place, but it was just a really cool way to make you actually role play the personality behind it, which was a lot of fun.
That's why. So when I had you guys make your characters, we used like a modified version of Matt Mercer's method, and I really like that because it makes you like kind of have the opportunity to have some crazy stats. So if you're unfamiliar, you roll like normal. So you roll your stats. So you roll 4d6. You drop the lowest number and then you add the other 3 numbers, right? So you do that 6 times for 6 scores. But you have to add all of those scores up and they have to equal at least 75. That's how we did it. Matt does it where it's 70. But doing that, make sure that you have like a good composite score total. Yeah. So you're good at something. Or you're at least mediocre at everything.
Or good at everything like Colin's character.
Yeah.
Colin I accidentally broke my character.
The dice rolled in his favor that night.
Well, when you roll, 3d6 5 times and wonder why you can't get up to 75, and then the DM lets you just take the next highest roll, like, you're gonna get a broken character.
Yeah, because he was like, it's like, what was it, like 71?
71 or 72.
And then we realized, like, oh wait, that was only for 5.
Yeah,
you need to roll one more time.
Yeah.
Were there any like standout moments or anything like? Or anything that you are curious, like how it could have gone?
When Teddy shot Cephik, like that's a definite standout. I was not prepared for that.
No,
I wasn't prepared. Neither was Atla. Like I knew that he was a bit like we gotta hold him back.
But I was literally about to grab your shirt or something and start pulling you out so they could go in and like mingle around just them 3. And he literally turns around and shoots the guy.
You say you weren't aware of it, but I think we all understood because at one point you said, we're going to have to keep an eye on.
Well, then I thought I convinced him, like, do what Atla does. Like, remember, do what Atla does. And he was like, I'll do what... I just forgot the gnome character's name, whatever. Gerbil. There it is. Gerbil. You did what Gerbil did.
Well, but also the whole conversation with you was to say, how do I make amends? So when I went and gave him the thing, I was like, we'll avenge your buddy. So I had the opportunity. It's like, I promise. I made a vow.
I like that your character is a man of his word.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there he is. I mean, we'll try to get in. We'll try again later. I ran.
Golly,
and now that I'm going to be gone next session, I'm just praying I don't have to play. What was my Smokey instead of Teddy? I hope Teddy lives through it, so I don't have to default back to my first draft.
We'll figure it out.
I love the idea of like an actual like criminal mastermind who's just dealing with really incompetent heroes, and he's just like, oh my gosh, just have to deal with these guys again. Like that's just way more fun than like it's like, oh, we're doing this, like, actually having a plan is overrated.
Teddy is the criminal mastermind.
It's like Ocean's 11, if only one of them was actually capable.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team was like, they weren't available. We'll make it work.
Is there anything that went different than you thought other than that, or any moments where you're curious what would have happened if I would have done this instead?
I guess we couldn't have saved the first guy, the Dragonborn, because it started out we already found him dead.
Yeah, I was super upset about that. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, no, I was gonna talk to him and he's already dead.
Sorry, I did that on purpose.
No, I know. I figured, like,
Blood hook.
Schultz was upset. I was like, this is kind of cool.
Had we not had those tech problems, I feel like that would have been such a smooth, like...
Yeah. Man.
It's fine.
There's, like... You were saying, like, things that... Sorry, what was the question again? Because I remember how to
things that you're curious, like, what if? Oh, yeah. Like, what if I would have done this? What would have happened? Or what if I wouldn't have done this? What would have happened?
Oh, the wolves.
Yeah.
Those were brought up. And
Dugan's Hole. Yeah. It's another town.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have the notes on that. I've written that as a quest in my notes.
Okay.
You guys will have the opportunity to pick up secrets and clues throughout every town.
Oh, sweet.
So just for context, you guys learned 1 secret that I had written down of 4. So there are 3 more that I'm now going to move to the next
cycle.
To start asking more questions when we encounter NPCs. Stop trying to kill all of them.
I think one thing that we were getting caught up, and it's great role play, is like us, and then realizing like we're in a tavern surrounded by NPCs that he's probably trying to get us to like interact with.
Yeah. But we have such a large party that we've never really interacted yet. We're spending a lot more of the time talking to each other.
The timing, the pacing of it will all change as we start to play more, get used to each other's characters.
I honestly, other than like the whole rock back and forth thing, I thought the pacing was pretty good.
I was nervous that we were behind the whole time.
We were behind solely because of issues.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to
So-
stop for like half an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just cut some
Which
stuff
no one's
out.
to blame. Yeah, it just
I kind of wish you had like one of those colored lights
Yeah.
that
Let's,
just kind
let's
of
do
like
that. Like,
off
let's just
camera.
like put something over here that I can just toggle. I can set it up on my stream
Like
deck.
green is
Yeah,
like,
like
you're
the-
good. Spend
like-
some time here. Yellow is
Got
like,
the-
hey
I've
guys,
got
pick
an
it up.
MC that I brought with me.
So
Yeah,
We can literally just magnetize it to something. and
Yeah,
you can
I
just,
have mine too. The problem is you have to use the Sidus Link app, which I have on my iPad and my
We
phone.
need-
is there
But
any reason we can't just have something that we just literally flip around, like physically, that looks one way?
There's a button that changes
It's not
colors.
cool. That's not cool. Here's what we need to do. We need you and Josh need to write us some code.
Okay, yeah.
For the chat to
Okay.
like change the color of the face.
There
And be
you
like,
go.
nah, guys, shut up and go on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
no,
Chat
no.
tells to go
Did you ever
faster.
watch? Did you watch that video that I sent you that Austin had sent me?
Haven't yet.
oh yeah,
Okay,
that one.
that
That we've never
so-and-so,
seen.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
The Colin sent it to me, and then
Sent by
I.
another person, and then
Yeah.
It's a Twitch extension thing that we might do. I don't know.
But that is. Sorry, we're gonna go in a different direction. But one thing that excites me about this is how much we've talked through just community and interaction with the community. You know, like we're all wanting to still chime into chat as often as we can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing that we're working towards in some of the goals is to make it that the chat, that the community, even people on Patreon, I guess is where this is being shown,
Yeah.
right? On Patreon are playing a huge part into what happens in this campaign, in this pre-campaign or mini campaign before the official campaign. And this is a time that we're going to figure out all of those things. That
Yeah.
like this is going to be a slower process because it's something that we haven't seen done before in the D&D space. But I think it's so important to be able to build that continued interaction. And
Talking with Zach, he had like really the idea I think that like sparked most of what I've been thinking through the last couple weeks of like making the chat a player.
yep.
That whole concept like has just stuck with me because I think if we can figure out how to do that, it's going to be pun intended, whatever, game changer. Like
Yeah, I think I don't even think it'd be hard. I've been in so many streams where they just put the polls in there and just like if there's a little
Absolutely.
thing and just let everybody chime in and help dictate what that chat player does.
so.
It'd be
This is
easy.
like a sneak peek of what's coming. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything introduced like a new sidekick thing that'll probably be played by Chris.
Come on.
But
Let's go.
the chat, specifically, if you probably have to be like a follower or something. There's going to be some restriction to it of who can do it, but you can contribute to what this sidekick is able to help the party do. Literally, like hopefully making you guys a player in that sense of like, Chris will be in charge of like what actually happens, but like you guys will tell Chris what to do, and he can adjudicate if it's good or not. Like,
the ways to do-
I want to avoid any like boat face make boat face or whatever, you know, like
Bodie
the way
McBoatface.
yeah, Bodie McBoatface moments. But
We'll explain later.
yeah, it was a contest to name a boat, and literally the name that won was
The internet.
yes.
They did a contest
Surely
online.
that's Reddit, right? That sounds like a Reddit thing.
It's
probably
real.
it was probably like somewhere else, and Reddit got involved with it, and,
Yeah.
Sounds like
and they
Reddit.
voted and spammed
Bodie
it. And
McBoatface.
Bodie McBoatface is the name of a carnival ship or something. I can't
No,
remember.
it's like an actual like a government owned like
That
ship.
is-
that
It's the
they
UK.
do things.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a ship from
It's
the UK.
Why would you want to avoid that? That sounds.
I'm just
never
saying.
heard of better boat
Yeah,
name.
I will let
Yeah.
Chris adjudicate that.
Yeah.
So
You get to avoid having innuendo names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's
That's another challenge of this. There were so many moments I started to say something and I wasn't even intending, and I'm like, nope, that would sound inappropriate. I was going to make a Doctor Who reference once, but then I thought, well, the way I'm about to say that is going to sound like something else, and nobody has the context for what my brain is doing right now with Doctor Who. So I need to shut up because that's going to be really awkward.
yeah.
There were a couple of things I had to stop myself from saying.
There was a couple things that made me laugh. I think we giggled.
Yeah.
We still we showed like we're restraining.
Yeah.
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 PG-13. That's
Yeah,
that's like
that's
kind of
the-
been my guideline
Yeah.
of like what I'm
So
going
okay,
for
well,
here.
are we swearing?
I don't think
No,
that's-
right?
No.
No.
Okay.
I feel like it's something that like it's somewhere between completely avoid or extremely sparingly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is honestly like kind
That's
of
great.
hard for me because
It's hard for you not to swear.
Yeah,
Okay.
it really is.
Yeah. So normally playing
probably gonna cut
D&D,
this out.
normally playing D&D, it's
I
like
like
not
that.
always family friendly. So then to get on a show where it's like this is being broadcasted and recorded and has to be family
Yeah.
friendly,
Yeah.
like you have to sit there and think through what you're
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah,
To vet all of those things of like, is this going to sound
Absolutely.
inappropriate?
Yeah.
Is this going to sound,
you've played with me enough.
can
that
this be
you-
misconstrued?
You've played with me enough.
Yeah.
You know.
Can I even just say like, oh, balls, like as a character?
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that too
Wait,
much?
can
for
we
this?
swear on this?
I mean, this is behind a paywall, but like you know.
I mean,
I mean,
Why did
Integrity.
he swear so bad? Because he had an outlet
It's just
for
like-
his.
exactly when am I allowed to
Because
swear?
I need to know if I need to watch every
Yeah.
single thing I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
It's funny the extremes we have because I have a new team at work, and when I first
Yeah.
got there, they were talking about something, and I said, "Oh, I'll never make that." I don't personally. I don't ever use profanity. I haven't since
Yeah.
like third grade. Just something that
Yeah.
I've got carried away in third grade, made a decision for whatever reason, it stuck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were left, and they're like, "Oh, so you're a goody two shoes or whatever." I'm like, "Oh no, just give me a minute. I have so many other
Yeah.
issues. That's just not one of them."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this. This is a whole tangent, but for me, it's never mind. I'm not gonna go there. But
It's very easy to get into
I swear-
characters that you can think would speak in different ways.
Yeah,
I
I
kind
swear
of
And
like.
that
I swear
builds
more
the
playing
grin-
D&D
the
than
grungy
doing
way.
anything else in my life.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more impressed like in like the shows or whatever that stay away from it and like
Yeah.
just the way that it's written. And so I do think that it is a challenge. I don't personally struggle with saying that. I mean, you've known me for years. Spoiler alert, I've known Colin since he was crawling. So this is like my
After the
younger brother.
accident. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it's not something that I typically go to, but still, like what I'm trying to think through is, man, how can I articulate this in
Yeah.
a more storytelling way? You know, like
Yeah.
what is a shift that I can do? How can I show that I'm angry without cussing, or like those sort of things? Like what, like so I've like my character with the high intelligence. I want to be more someone who like under his breath or just insults people, and so I start reading in like what's an intellectual way
Yeah.
to insult people, you know, like so I'm like
Yeah.
looking up all these different terms, these different ways to kind of get into that character.
Yeah.
So
No.
But also, don't be
Fascinating.
surprised if you DM so well that one of us goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
because that's happened in one of my games before, and I was like, "This is very surprising from this person."
Yeah.
So don't get really good. Don't do it.
Okay.
Just do a
Keep,
word.
see, just think
But we know what
PG-13,
lukewarm
I gotta-
is, and I don't want to be lukewarm. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotta spit it
So like shifting gears a little bit, if you would have taken, I was ready to have all of you roll initiative. It was about to happen
For what?
for the way that
Not
Ruth.
all of us.
Well, you two, yeah.
the two that were gonna go keep it clean.
They were about to get murdered, like Ruith and
Bring it
Alta.
on. Bring it on. We would have taken them. Easy.
See, I
Okay, all sorts of characters. Let's go.
I was
Atla-
panicking because I thought our characters were like at the street corner, and then you were like, "No, y'all went to the tavern," and I was like, "Cool, they're dead."
Yeah, that would have happened.
Atlas thing is he's always trying to find ways to survive, and so it's like
The-
I know when things are getting too aggressive.
Yeah, those
He's getting
four.
beaten up a lot in his Goliath tribe.
Yeah,
I mean, if
it would have
those-
been bad. So Cephik is one thing, and I'm not going to talk about that for obvious reasons.
Sure.
But those four other guards still had it's not thug. It's like they are
Bandit.
stronger than you.
Sure.
So and there was four of them. So I
I
was
mean,
just,
yeah. I mean, I'm like,
With
an-
the level
I mean,
ones.
I'm an old dwarf. If they're gonna beat up an old dwarf, they're bad people. Great.
they are bad people.
Right.
Yeah, I think those.
If that's what was gonna happen.
We detected the bad guys.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that your character doesn't care for his own life at this point. He's old. And he's like, I've lived my life.
How much? That may be something.
We'll find out later.
That may be something.
Stay tuned.
We need to
Find
figure
out
it
more
out.
later.
Like how much you.
It's like the first
Reveal.
lethal
I've got
weapon when
in my head
Mel
what I'm
Gibson's
doing.
like a head case and he's like half suicidal and he's
Okay.
gonna get Danny
We'll talk.
Glover killed. We're in trouble.
How tightly are you
That's
holding
how old
on to
I
your
am.
past?
That's all I am.
Which past?
Before this is over, can I ask, like, Gerbil, is he supposed to be like a barbarian with a minor and bard? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I think that's just Josh.
Or is that just
Josh.
I think that's just Josh. Yeah.
He's barbarian with a minor in
He's
Josh.
he's barbarian. is what he
There we
is.
go.
Barbarian. Yeah.
So like I felt like the whole crew like he had basically the same general like vibe going, same sort of like page, and he's like, I'm gonna turn myself into a rock. And it's just like I mean, which is like there's like a certain charm to that, and it's like it's one of those is fine, two of those is a nightmare, but like it's just that was fun from over there because like you hear the game start to roll, and then it's like I'm gonna go do a thing like shoot someone. Well, that was
one thing that was I don't want to say surprising to me, but like the tone of this is like pretty serious, but you guys have still made it funny.
Yeah.
Like I literally started this with murdering a child that you guys saved. And yet it still was funny. Like,
What you need to do is murder one of us, and maybe we'll take it more seriously.
Well, like in preparation,
Just kidding.
have you guys seen the movie The Thing?
Oh yeah,
The original, The Thing.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Classic.
It is a classic, but that is kind of like the tone that I had in my mind of like what this was going to be like.
I think still keep it dark.
Yeah.
Like obviously stay down that
Oh
road.
no, I'm not planning on changing that.
Oh, when we
But-
start next time without the tech difficulties, I think it'll be.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. I think though that like these characters have lived in this world for a while, and so they're not. My assumption is like they're not like so torn by the death in these things. It's like they've been here.
It's a harsh place. Yeah.
Like I'm trying not to go into the part of my backstory. Like I've seen crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
that's where like that thing is like, sort of like let me figure out how these things work. And so that's why I think like it's okay for us to be playful in it because we're like we've grown up here or we've lived here for long enough to see this darkness.
That was one of the things.
Or you don't know better.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was hardest for me because I was thinking, I was like, Schultz probably wouldn't care if this was anything else, but because it's another Dragonborn and knowing his backstory and seeing this happen to someone else, I'm like, this is bothering me. Like, I'm about to start fighting
good.
Teddy. I'm going to sneak attack him in the back. I literally looked over at Zach and I was like, do you think my psychic breath weapon could kill him? How much HP do you think he has? And he was like, probably. It could. I was like,
He's a wizard. Yeah, you have nothing.
It's a
Squishy.
D10.
What's your HP?
It's like 8.
Oh yeah, I could definitely kill him. I was like, I just want to whisper in his ear like, death, and then he falls. That's it.
Golly. So that's one thing that I am excited about is to see us in combat at some point.
Yeah.
Because I only know really what I can do, and that's
Thursday.
literally it. Like that's like I don't know. Like you said, your breath weapon attack is like I know Dragonborns have that, but I haven't like researched what exactly each of you are playing as to know. Like I know barbarians go into a rage and hit things, and I love that I'm a Goliath that I don't do that and I run away from it. Whereas the gnome is like like
I can't wait to see Josh play a barbarian.
Yeah.
Really, like once we get into combat of what that's going to look like of like I turn into a rock and then I rage or something, you know.
What class are you again?
I'm a artificer.
Okay. I love that we have like a gnome barbarian and a Goliath artificer just sharing a table. It just makes me happy.
When we get the graphics,
D&D's
so that
changed.
as we're in there, they can just because I think it's hard sometimes to remember that dichotomy, like the contrast. So it'll be cool if we get some visuals to kind of help.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
When
mini
Josh
or
is talking
something.
and doing those things that you see in gnome, and when he's talking, you see this. That'll be cool.
Yeah. I mean, even like having like character specs and stuff up on the screen, names, class,
you can do like
race.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's in it, like sprucing up the overlay a little more.
Yeah.
It'll all come in. It'll all come in time.
If anybody wants to help me with that, please take that from me because I have so many other things to do.
Yeah.
Anyone else already like rolled a few times outside? Like I do this typically, and I like when I'm watching other D&D streams, like players will just be there's interacting. All of a sudden, you see a player just roll something, like, and they kind of make a face like, "Yep."
Okay.
I've already done that like a few times. Like, how mad is Atla right now? You know, like that. Like, let me roll to see anger. Oh, he's okay. I've already done that, like trying to figure some of those things out. Like, would I try to catapult Teddy off of this? You know, like trying to figure out like how not okay am I with him? Like I rolled for that. I was like, how angry do I roll an attack on Teddy, or do I just try to grab him right now? I like rolled was like, grab him. Like, that was the response.
I haven't done that yet, but I do that same thing.
Yeah. I think I rolled and you gave me a weird look. And that was what that was about. Was like I was like, I'm trying to figure something out. Like what would
I was wondering what you were rolling for. I was like,
It was just like
What's
an
going
inner
on?
thing, like, I don't know exactly what he do. Let's let the dice decide.
So the campaign that I just left, so I can focus on this fully, I was playing a Tabaxi, and I was chaotic good, and I was like heavily leaning into that. So literally, if it came to something that was like a 50-50 decision, I would roll a d20, and 1 to 10 would be no, 11 to 20 would be yes. And I literally almost got us killed like 3 times. Chris is smiling because
Yes,
he was playing with me in
us,
this
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But literally, I almost got us TPK'd because I just impulsively was like, okay, I'm going to go do this thing. And that's the voice that I used for my character too, of like, Khajiit has many wares. That was one of my like focus statements of like how to come back to my accent. And so no, I totally appreciate that because I think it's a good way to make decisions. It's like, what would my character do here?
No.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
nothing. Nope. I shoot him in the back through the chair with my crossbow.
Well, he didn't even roll for it. He just walked in and did it. Like,
Wait, the wizard. I just realized the wizard walked in
and shot a guy
and
with a
shot this
crossbow.
man with a crossbow.
Yeah.
instead of like
And
doing
then
any
left.
spells or anything, he just
Well, I'm not a glass cannon yet. I'm a support wizard at level 1. That was the probably most hostile, vicious thing I have in my arsenal right now.
Yeah.
Well, one final thing.
I did have a question.
Yes.
What would have happened if the howling Yeti would have found us?
Dead.
Or was that just a thing to get us moving? We
Yes.
like get to the.
It was just a horror kind of mechanism, I guess.
Nice.
No.
Like it.
Yeah.
But if it had provoked
spent-
it, he could have pulled up a character sheet.
By
Or
the
pulled up a monster sheet.
Yeah. I kind
After I cure wounds you, and then we walked in for like this is just for everyone's awareness. I only have 2 first level spell slots, and I used one catapulting the food to scare the Yeti away, and then the other to heal you. So I was like, "Oh, this is happening."
Yeah.
I'm not doing much.
Yeah, the last campaign that I was in, that I was DMing, we were all level 13 or 14, and I looked at it's been a while, even like since beginning a campaign at level 1. Like I've started some campaigns at like 3 or 4 or 5, and I looked at my spell slots, and the same thing. I have 2 first level spells, and I used one at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I looked down, and I was like, I have one more spell.
Is that why you were like, surely we long rest?
Yes, that is exactly why. I was like, surely in the past year we've taken a long rest, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, one final thought for you guys on Patreon. Just a little sneak peek. We're gonna have loyalty rewards. So like, the longer you are subscribed and follow us on Patreon, there will be perks that come with that. So keep an eye out for that because it's gonna be awesome. I hope, and just a way to appreciate you for appreciating us.
And if you're on Twitch, then you know and understand loyalty points. So there'll be things that like as you watch, you gain points, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just as you interact, as you chat, we're going to try to figure out some other ways to help people gain points. But there'll be ways to redeem things that affect things that happen, and like that. That's an interaction side that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. So we have some. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This is for y'all's knowledge more than this. But I'm going to be ordering 200 sets of dice that are like good dice. And so after 3 months, they can redeem on our web store. They can redeem like a gift certificate or something and get a free pair of dice. We'll also sell them. And then, yeah, they're really good. The company actually makes some of the name brand dice.
Nice.
So, but yeah, thanks for joining us here on this podcast. I hope it's been a nice little short rest from the adrenaline and everything that we just encountered. And until next time, this is Table Fables, and we'll see you later.